Coronation Street, P694/69, Part 1, Take 1.
Edited.
And supping, and I dare some think what else. You know, you're a walking flaming contradiction, you, Stanley Ogden, always have been. The less work you've got, the more brass you manage to spend. Well, I think this being locked in a van is just a figment of your curly imagination. You've just chucked up your job, haven't you? Admit it! Go on, admit it! I'm clearing off, no answer at all. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I should have thought you had enough of that row when you lived with them.
Really, Irma, eavesdropping again?
Well, you can't call listening to me mother eavesdropping. I mean, you don't exactly have to strain your lugholes, do you? It's like living next door to a mock auction.
What's she on about, then?
Mrs. Sharples.
Well, it's me dad. He reckons he got fired for being found snoozing in the van, and yesterday my mum felt sorry for him.
And now she thinks he's swinging the lead.
Well, she's always thought that, but yesterday she was frightened of him. She's had time now to sleep on it and get her strength back.
Poor Mr. Ogden.
For once, Miss Nugent, I agree with you.
You just got yourself in a drunken stupor, didn't you? And not for the first time since you've been in this job, neither. I haven't forgot that time you were seen clubbing it when you were supposed to be working your fingers up to the elbows.
If you don't shut up, I'll club you. That van was driven on that croft deliberate, and police informed us, shouldn't we wonder?
I'll say one thing for you, you can't half dream up a story. You know, your brain only works proper when it's thinking up lies. Well, I'll tell you something, Stanley Ogden. I'm not subsidiarising you, not this time. I've done me whack of that. From now on, what I earn belongs to me. So if you take my tip, you'll get yourself down to the labour and find another job, or starve.
That's what I'm doing. And I'll tell you something, no.
What?
And I'm after a job in Timbuktu.
Couldn't you find somewhere further away? Like another flaming planet?
See what I mean, Miss Nugent? You've heard of the face that launched 1,000 ships? It was my mother's voice what sunk 'em.
Oh, well, a woman needs a good, strong voice. It makes up for lack of muscle.
Thought you had both, Mrs. Sharples.
Well, I'm not complaining.
Well, I wish you'd use your voice to answer my question, Mrs. Sharples.
Oh, yes, what are these pictures of again?
Oh, various excursions to the countryside that Ernest and I have shared and enjoyed. Oh, and also some of my doings in Mallorca.
You think you should be showing them in public? I always thought you had to get a licence of the Watch Committee to exhibit blue films.
That's what I like about Mrs. Sharples. Always ready with a merry quip, even if it is totally unrelated to the subject under discussion.
You did leave yourself wide open, though, didn't you? I'll tell you what, listen, I'll come and have a look at your pictures. And I promise I won't laugh. Well, not out loud, anyway.
No, thank you, Irma. The message is loud and clear. My doings in Mallorca are obviously destined, like my light, to remain under a bushel.
Oh, hello, Miss Nugent. You, come to finish our books off?
I have, Mrs. Clegg, but I doubt if my efforts with your shop accounts will provoke quite as much mirth as my activities with a camera.
Oh, come in. Haven't planted no booby traps then now.
Oh, no. I just didn't want to run into Oggy. You never know, he might have seen me sweating under my collar.
Well, I'd get ready to sweat a bit more if I was you.
Why?
My dad's only been sacked now, that's all.
Oh, he's never.
He has, and my mum's finding new ways every minute of calling him a layabout.
Why didn't you tell me yesterday you'd been sacked?
Because I didn't see you yesterday and I wasn't going round looking for you.
We've made a bit of a mess of it, haven't we?
Not me, Raymond. You.
They're nowhere near drying. Them blankets, I said they're nowhere near drying.
Oh?
Didn't you bring them in last night?
No.
Well, how'd you expect them to get dry if you leave them hanging about all night long? This isn't Bermuda, you know. This is the bronchitis belt.
I don't expect them to do anything, Ina. Not to dry or even to fly away like Peter and Paul. You wash them, they're your concern.
Whose daily paper's that?
Mine.
You mean you went out and bought one?
Before 7 o'clock.
That's the racing page you're reading.
Your eyesight's very good for your age, isn't it, Ina?
I see.
What do you see?
You're sulking.
Oh, you're jumping to conclusions. Now, it's always been a big fault of yours. I used to wonder if you did it with your Alfred, because if you did, he can't have liked it, you know. Men don't. Our Mr. used to say the one thing he couldn't stand was women who jumped to conclusions.
Well, why would you bother to read the racing page if you weren't thinking about backing horses?
Because I like reading about racing. It's my hobby. Horse racing to you, Ina, just means gambling. Only it means a lot more to me. It means crowds and excitement and ladies and gentlemen all dressed in their best and all those beautiful animals. I always wanted to go to a race course, but I never...
Oh, if reading about horses turns your brain, I wonder what seeing would do to them.
Oh, I knew you wouldn't understand.
Would you like a cup of tea if I make you one?
No.
Can I make one for myself, then? There's no pleasing some folk.
Well, you might try leaving them alone.
Did you say something?
No.
Then I'd get them false teeth of yours seen, too.
Look, darling, you was just as keen as I was to take a rise out of Huggy.
My dad, Stanley, Mr. Ogden.
What?
He's not called Oggy, he's called me Dad or Stanley.
All right, I get the message.
Well, you better start getting another and all.
Such as?
Such as you owning up.
You what?
Go and tell me Dad's boss what really happened.
You know, you really do amaze me.
And I'm not even trying.
You sat in the Rovers belly aching about your dad doing a fair imitation of Rip Van Winkle in the bakery night after night, and now he's got his flaming Justice Urchin on his side all of a sudden.
Well, you know what they say about relatives.
Only other relatives can call them.
Or harm 'em.
You want me to own up? To say I dumped him on that croft?
That's right.
But I could get done. Taking and driving away for sure, kidnapping maybe.
Hard luck.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's not on.
Oh?
Besides, not being the George Washington type, I've managed to keep me sheet clean with the bogies for a fair while now, and it's stopping clean.
I wonder if...
What?
When you're giving the police a tip-off, do you dial 999, or is there another number?
Oh, you wouldn't.
Oh, I would.
I can't own up. I could finish up doing porridge.
Well, you'll have to think of something else then.
What do you suggest?
I'll leave it up to you, but I wouldn't be too long solving it.
Anna,
Yeah?
you got a minute?
Come in. See ya.
Who the heck was that? You been having a row with a customer?
You could say that.
Well, it looks like we're going to have to watch our P's and Q's with everybody in future, Irma. Both of us.
What do you mean?
She means, Irma, that your books have balanced in more ways than one.
Well, isn't that what they're supposed to do? I thought the fraud squad come knocking on the door if they don't balance.
What Miss Nugent's trying to say, Irma, is that our outgoings balance with our incomings, near enough.
Oh, smashing. It isn't, is it?
Not if it happens before either of us have taken out a penny piece of profit.
Well, how can that be possible?
Well, it is possible, Irma, though you could, of course, have my figures checked by a professional.
No, I mean, how have we been managing to live? How did I manage to buy that new frock last week?
You've been living at the expense of your liabilities, Irma.
Liabilities? Isn't that a fancy word for debts? Right, go on, how much are they, the liabilities?
£132.30.
That's not a liability, that's a disaster.
Definitely.
Right, what we're going to do? What can we do?
Oh, I'm just a bookkeeper, Irma, not a business consultant.
Well, we can have a talk for a start.
Well, I know one thing we won't be talking about, and that's my summer holidays. Went and got all the brochures on Greece and all went half looking forward to it. They say trouble comes in threes. If it does, I don't think I'll be able to face number rotten 3.
She is upset.
She's not the only one, Miss Nugent.
Of course, I suppose I'm better off than Nellie Eastwood. Do you know, she scrubs the flags outside her house right down to the curb edge. I ask you.
What's me not getting a job got doing Ellie Eastwood screwing the flags down to the curb edge?
Well, that's her safety valve, like, isn't it?
Oh.
I mean, if she didn't do that, she'd like us not to explode.
Hmm?
Oh, yeah. We've all got to have something to take us mind off the monotony of being at home all day, you know. Now, you're my safety valve, Chuck.
I am?
Yeah. I mean, if I hadn't got you to yell at, I'd like us not scrub my flags down to the curb edge. Or wink at the milkman or something.
Oh, well, that shows a good in everything, doesn't it?
Of course, you can't have too much of a good thing.
Eh?
I mean, Nellie Eastwood's not scrubbing the flags to the curb edge every day, like I'm having to yell at you every day because you're afflicted with this disease, what stops you keeping a job for longer than a few months at a time and keeps you on the dole for as long again.
I went to the flipping labour, there was nothing for me.
Ah, well, tomorrow I'm coming with you. I'll see if there's nothing for you. Because your nothing for you and my nothing for you might be two very different things.
Eh?
I'll tell you something else that's just struck me and all.
What?
Summer's coming, isn't it? Not a bad time of the year to be on the dole, is it? Best time, in fact. But I wouldn't bank on getting sunburnt if I was you, because you're getting a job. If I have to drag...
I did not, but you wouldn't have heard me being in the heat of connubial discussion.
What do you want?
Stanley?
He's not coming out. Not to the Rovers, not to anywhere. Till he's joined the ranks of the employed again.
Oh, that's what I've come about.
Have you heard something from Bakery, from his boss?
No.
Well, there you speak, will you?
Well, it's like this, Stanley. Knowing how you are fixed, I'd like to offer you a job.
Working for you?
Fairclough and Langton, aye.
What, my old job back at the yard?
Where else?
Oh, well, how about the money, you know?
He'll take what's offered.
I'll take what's offered.
Well, that's that then.
Thanks very much.
Oh, think note of it. Start tomorrow, Stan.
Oh, it's a question of the change between night work and day work, you know.
He'll start tomorrow.
On second thoughts, I'll start tomorrow.
Good, very good. See you tomorrow then, Stan.
Yeah.
Ta-ra.
Thanks very much. You're not a bad lad deep down, you know.
No. Well, you just remember how nice he were any time you might be tempted to start leaning on your hammer.
Oh, I wouldn't let him down. Anybody does me a favour, you know. He's my friend for life, that fella.
I've heard that one before and all.
No, I mean it.
Right, well, you'll be at that yard 8 o'clock sharp tomorrow morning.
Current agency P694/69. Part 2, take 1.
Ready to roll, as they say.
Haven't you forgotten something, Miss Nugent?
No, it's all assembled, apart from a final fiddle with the focus.
Punch.
Punch, Mrs. Caldwell.
Oh, that's another thing they say. No show without punch.
Oh, yes. Well, Mrs. Sharples is a little tardy. I think I can detect an atmosphere, Mrs. Caldwell, though I'm at a loss to understand why there should be.
Oh, yes, there's an atmosphere, all right.
But I gathered from Mrs. Sharples that it was at your behest that I put on this film show.
Well, I don't see how that could be possible.
I'm still at a loss, I'm afraid.
Well, Ina and me haven't exchanged a civil word since the incident of the blankets, and that were yesterday.
The incident of the blankets?
Well, she washed them, and I didn't want her to. They're not dry, and I don't care if they never do dry.
Oh, I see. But Mrs. Sharples was most explicit. Forthright, as is her wont, but explicit. I can nearly recall her exact words. If you want an audience for your pictures, she said, get round to Minnie Caldwell's. She's mooning about being in far-away places, so your doings in Mallorca should be just up her street.
And that's what she said?
Almost to the syllable.
I think Ina must have been born thinking that she knows what's best for folks better than they do.
One thing's sure, Minnie Colwell, you don't know what's best for you, so you should be very thankful that I've taken interest in you. Right, get them blinds drawn, and if I see something I don't like, I shall burn them pictures, Emily Nugent.
Mrs. Whitehouse.
Let me know if you want an intermission. I'll just put the lamp on. There. Now that's Ernest and I's very first trip together to Coniston Water.
God help us.
Where have you been?
Buying Langton a pint. You got to keep in with the boss, haven't you?
I've been doing some sums, Stan.
Oh, I didn't think arithmetic was your strong point.
Oh, it's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it. Even me.
Ah, that's true, Chuck.
You know what these sums tell me, Stan?
What?
You've solved the country's inflation problem all on your own.
I have?
You have, Chuck. Well, you know everybody these days is always asking for more brass. You know, dustmen, postmen, doctors, policemen. Although they've got the face to ask for more when all they do is sit about in cars. Do you know, I reckon Lancashire Constabulary's got more cars than policemen.
You were saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, now, they've all had 10, 15, even 20% rises.
What's that got to do with me?
You've had a 20% cut.
How do you make that out?
One of your old wage packets from Fairclough's.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, it dropped out your pocket one night, so I kept it for a souvenir. It was the first one I'd ever seen.
15 quid is not much, is it?
After stoppages.
Oh, after stoppages, huh?
Yeah, but do you know how much you was getting at the bakery after stoppages?
Do you?
Yeah, Tommy Ratcliffe's wife's got a bigger gob than me. 18 quid, 20 with overtime. So I did my sums.
And?
Like I said, you've had a 20% cut.
It's not my fault.
Well, it's definitely not mine.
Where are you getting at?
Just that we won't be applying the cut to my housekeeping, only to your beer money.
Listen, the beer's gone up since I worked for Fairclough. And fags and all.
Oh, I know, Chuck. That's what Vic Feather's always on about, isn't it? Pegging prices. But nobody listens to him, so who do you think's going to listen to you, Chuck?
If I could get my hands on him, just one flipping hand.
You're not still insisting he exists.
He does flaming exist.
I'm very pleased to hear you've done that, Raymond.
Yeah, well, let's hope that Fairclough is when I tell him later on.
Oh, I'm sure you can be very persuasive. I mean, I was just talking to Myra Lomax the other day from Jubilee Street. She was telling me how you only had to flutter your eyelashes and she's putty in your hands.
That's as maybe. Fairclough isn't Moira Lomax.
I thought I saw a resemblance.
But, do us a favour, will you?
Name it.
Next time you want Oggy teaching your dad teaching a lesson, do it yourself, will you? Don't drag me into it.
Try. Oh, don't look so glum, Maggie. There's a way out of most troubles. I've just proved it.
I'm very worried, Irma.
So was I for about half an hour.
Yeah, I've not got your resilience.
Well, there is a quick remedy.
Such as?
Such as you buying me out, you can definitely make a go of it on your own.
Do you want that?
I said it's a quick remedy.
And I asked if you wanted it.
No, I don't. I like working here. And I'd have to it keeps me close to David.
Then it's not a remedy. It's a last resort.
Thanks.
Anyway, the warehouse will be starting up soon, which should improve things. And we'll have to try and be more efficient. Collect other folks' liabilities for a start.
And no more credit?
Yeah. Especially to...
Me ma'am.
You said it.
Oh, well. We'll make a go of it, Maggie.
It won't be for want of trying if we don't. I promise you.
This is Formentor. It's rather more exclusive than some of the other beaches. It's popular with some of our soccer stars, I believe. Mr. Charlton and Mr. Best have been seen
That's Camp de
sporting.
Mar. That's not Formentor.
No, I think you're wrong, Mrs. Sharples.
I'm anything but wrong. Them two headlands say that's Camp de Mar.
Oh, yes, I think you're right. It's definitely Camp de Mar. Oh, Formentor must be coming up.
You're not the only one that's been to Mallorca, you know.
So you keep reminding us, Ina.
Oh, this is the magnificent cathedral at Palma, built in the 12th century.
13th.
No, I'm sure it was the 12th, Mrs. Sharples.
And I'm sure it was the 13th.
Oh, what does it matter when it was built? Especially since it's so many years ago. It's like trying to remember 1066 and 1846
Sorry.
when you were at school.
1846, what happened then?
Oh, well, everybody knows that. Well, everybody with any brain, that is. The repeal of the Corn Laws, that's what happened in 1846.
Fancy, you learn something new every day, don't you?
Ladies, if I could just have your attention, please, only we are coming to a rather fascinating part. A trip I took to Valdemousa, high up in the foothills, where there's a rather picturesque monastery. And then, continuing on up the mountain, I counted 32 hairpin bends.
36?
Oh, really, Mrs. Sharples, I didn't realise I'd have to dispute every single fact I uttered with you.
Well, you wouldn't have if you got your facts right in the first place, would you?
Oh, Ina disputes everything with everybody. She always has and she always will. And it's very wearing, Ina. And I'll tell you something else. Getting Miss Nugent here with her pictures is only worse than my temper. You might have been to Mallorca and I've never been anywhere. Only I could have gone somewhere yesterday if you hadn't started spring cleaning and washing blankets.
It looked as if they'd been lagging pipes.
Ladies, at the Valdemosa Monastery... Oh, should I stop, Mrs. Sharples? We seem to have lost our audience.
Well, you've still got me, haven't you? I thought you were dying to show these things to somebody.
Well, St. Catherine Thomas was born at Valdemosa in the, 16th century.
I never said a word.
Ina, can you come out here? There's something I want to show you.
What have you been doing?
I haven't done anything. They was too heavy for the clothesline and they've pulled the hook out. Oh, they got very dirty, haven't they? They do look now as though they could have been lagging pipes.
Well, get hold of one. They'll get no cleaner lying there.
No, Ina, they won't.
I see, you're not going to help.
No, Ina, it was your idea to wash them.
Well, don't just stand there. Pick one up. Let's get them into the dolly tub.
But we're about to move on to Ibiza.
Oh, thank goodness I had a good Christian upbringing. I said, pick one up.
Oh, I told him straight this is the last time I put up with it, I said. You get yourself a good job, I said. Well, good financially, if not domestically. Because I tell you, him being on nights took a bit of getting used to. Well, anyhow, just when he seems all set up for life, what does he do? Ups and jacks it in. All this about him being kidnapped is just an excuse, you know. He's got itchy feet again, if you ask me.
Oh, men, you know, Hilda.
Yeah, but every 7 years, not every 7 flaming months like my Stan. I wonder if I ought to put bromide in his tea.
Pardon?
Bromide. You know, it's a sort of a drug, like. Stan reckons they used to put it in the soldiers' tea to stop them getting too fruity, you know, when there was, like, no need. Say, when they was in Greenland or somewhere.
But mightn't that not make him, well, even lazier than he is already?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It could just slow him down from stop to subconscious. You know, I read only the other day what it was Stan's got.
What has he got, Hilda?
Inherited inertia. His dad were just the same.
Oh, yeah. Well, anything else, Hilda?
Oh, yeah, a blackcurrant jelly.
Oh, hang on. I'll have to get some from the stockroom.
Oh, right.
Mum,
Yes, Joe?
I wish you'd stop running my dad down, you know, in public like.
Well, since when have you started taking your dad's part, in public or in private?
I know what he's like, nobody better, but you do go on, Mum.
As I've every right after what he's done. Do you know, we're £3 a week down at least, more like 5. Makes my blood board bubble, in fact.
Well, it wasn't my dad's doing this time.
Oh, don't tell me you've fallen for this yarn of his. He's a past master at yarns. Chucky's got certificates for it. Do you know, if he set off to get his hair cut and ended up in the flying horse, he'd say he took the wrong turn.
But it's not a yarn, Mum, it's true.
It's a yarn, Chuck.
Somebody did drive the van off with me dad inside it.
Oh, then, go on, clever clogs, tell me who.
No, I can't.
I know you can't, because there wasn't no Bob.
Oh, yes, there was. All right, then I'll tell you. It was Ray Langton.
You know, I don't believe all this about blankets fetching the suit down. I reckon you had one end of your skipping rope fastened to it.
Well, it's very good of you to leave your own work and come and mend them for me. But, you know, you can bait somebody too much, can't you?
Who have you been baiting then, Albert Tatlock or Enoch Powell?
Mrs. Sharples.
Oh, that's dicing with death, isn't it?
She's in there washing some blankets, very red in the face.
Oh, aye. Your blankets, aren't they?
Oh, yes, haven't been done for over a year.
Ah, it's grand to have a labourer. Taking Stan Ogden on. Can see myself living the life of Riley while he's working like a donkey.
Well, I always liked Mr. Ogden. I've always found him very pleasant. But not over fond of hard work, I wouldn't say.
Well, not usually, I grant you, but he owes me a bit of a favour, you see.
Beholden to you.
Yeah, you could say that.
Is that line up yet?
Oh, tell her she's got to wait well more for sex.
She's got to take the blankets home with her to get them dry, because my rack's stuck and they're too heavy for my clothes maiden. I can't wait to see her face.
Sun in China evening, you may make a bricky.
Hello, Chuck. You know, life's funny, isn't it, eh? I mean, 1 minute you're down, Next minute you're bobbing up again, eh? I mean, take for instance, you get a bad pint at the Rovers. OK, fly nose, it's just like velvet. You know. I mean, take me losing my job today, for instance. What happens? Ray Langton turns up, offers me my old job back. A nice evening up gesture, you know.
Stan?
Yeah.
Would you like your tea now or after?
After what?
You get indigestion.
Why should I get indigestion?
Well, you always do when you go raving mad, don't you?
Why should I go raving mad? I feel happy, feel well-disposed, you know.
So you fell a man?
Every single one of them, I.
Even that one what locked you in that van and left you on that croft and maybe informed the police?
What made you think of that? You said I imagined it.
Just summat I heard.
What have you heard?
Summat.
Hilda?
Yes, Chuck?
What you know, I want to know.
Hey, have you had them pains lately?
What pain?
In your chest?
Hilda?
Oh, Stan, well, you know that fellow what did them things like locking you in that van and...
Who did them?
Leaving you on that croft?
Hilda, who did them?
Ray Langton. Now, Chuck, you know you're overweight, Stan, and you mustn't get aerated. Just...
Murder him, I'll feed me, well, murder him.
Oh, heck.